Ladies and gents, welcome back. Jagmeet Sing has reached a new threshold, a new milestone, if you would. He has joined Justin Trudeau in the ranks of members of parliament that can no longer show their face in public. And, well, he has a reason why, he believes anyway. Racism and vitriol at Liberal and NDP events has Jagmeet Sing worried about Canada. Sing says economic inequality makes Canadians more vulnerable to radicalization. Of course, and this is the CBC reporting on this. So, of course, he's going to get a nice little softball. NDP leader Jagmeet Sing, Juggers, says he still feels safe knocking on the doors in Canada despite protesters yelling racial slurs and threats at recent Liberal and NDP events. But he's worried about growing division in the country. The guy who says that a certain demographic of the public is unclean and shouldn't be able to travel, what have you, says that there's growing division. I wonder why. Prime Minister Trudeau canceled plans to attend a Liberal Party fundraising dinner in Surrey, BC this week, citing safety concerns after a large group of protesters were heard yelling racist comments at South Asian volunteers. Now, this story was debunked and they had to change their headlines, but they're still running with the narrative, of course. The incident comes just a couple weeks after Singh was verbally harassed at a campaign stop in Peterborough, Ontario. Now, I'm not going to play you the audio for this because it gets spicy real fast, but this is Jagmeet Singh coming out of his campaign headquarters, presumably to NDP voters or people maybe not his voters, but just being accosted immediately. Now, of course, he took this and he went to the media and cried that it was because of racism, but it was there was no racist things being said there. People calling him a sellout. That's what was happening. Now, I don't condone going out there and accosting people, especially so vehemently to their face, but this is what happens. This is what it gets people angry when you have this type of behavior, the type of behavior that Jagmeet Sing has been having, especially publicly, and his voting record and what he's been doing, especially with the coalition, that not really a coalition that they have in government. A lot of NDP voters are very upset about that. Singh spoke to, as it happens, to guest David Gray about what he sees as a worrying trend in Canada and why he still has hope. Here is part of their conversation. What does your experience in Peterborough and now the threats in the Liberal fundraiser campaign in Surrey tell you about the state of Canada in politics right now? He says, I'm in the community very often, meeting with people, walking the streets, chatting with folks, and lots of folks come up and talk to you about things that they appreciate and what's going on, the things that we're doing to help them with dental care and pharmacare. Do I get people that raise concerns and are worried about what's going on at the federal level? So it's still, I think, very healthy, but these two incidents that you brought up are in the Peterborough with myself and what happened in Surrey are examples of some troubling trends. He goes on to, and he goes, obviously I'll leave the link to this article in the description down below, but he goes on to talk about how it's destructive, but he left out the racism stuff. And why is that? Well, it may be because it's also his own community, the very people that, you know, when the people who look like you and share the same religion and everything, they come at you, well, you can't really call racism anymore, can you? And this is, mind you, a bit of language, so if your kids are in the room, a lot less F-bombs than the last one, but some other words are said here. But this is members of the Sikh community accosting him at an event.
Running Bachelor Sing. That's his new name. Bachelor Sing. fake feet, you flat face. The wrong kind. Jagmeet, I'm wearing a mask, bro. You gotta respect me. Hey, Jagmeet, don't sell out, bro. Don't sell out. Where you going? Where you going? Pussy. Pussy. You're selling out, Jagmeet. Sellout Sing, bro. You sold out a Gom, bro. You sold out a Gom. Watch out. Punk pussy.
So he was meant to be at this event and speak to people when people showed that they weren't happy with the way he has been. Immediately he took off from the event, got in his security detail, and got himself out of there immediately instead of talking to the people like he claims that he attends to. This is him on Tucker Carlson talked about him just the other week, and this is what Tucker Carlson had to say.
When you go too far, as Ceausescu learned, people turn against you. It was just a few days ago that a guy called Jagmeet Sing, he's the leader of Canada's supposedly pro-worker NDP party, smeared the truckers as racist. Of course, quote, those that claim the superiority of the white bloodline. What a pig. It's always the same lie. But yesterday, even Jagmeet Sing finally realized the same old slander doesn't work anymore. So he went to plan B. He went for a federal plan to, quote, exit the pandemic. In other words, he caved in the face of principled human rights protests. That's how that works.
That is how that works. And this is why people are going after him. And this is why people are, and I'm not saying going after him like in a threatening way, but going after him in trying to voice their opinions and what it is that they're saying. But this is what's going around on Twitter today. Sellout Sing is, of course, the trending topic at the moment. But yes, this item is sold out, folks. In a sense, here's how it is. People voted for the new Democratic Party in Canada for several reasons. A lot of them were people who genuinely like the platform of the NDP, and that goes back many, many years. For those people, Jagmeet has sold them out completely by aligning himself with the Liberals and going against their principles and what they have to say. There are other people that were disaffected Liberals that didn't want to vote for the Liberals, but also didn't want to vote Conservative because they don't agree with this Conservative platform. They were upset with the Liberals, so they put their vote into the NDP, only to have Jagmeet Sing bring their vote right back to the Liberals in the Parliament with his deal that he made with Trudeau and his cabinet. So, yeah, there's a reason why people are upset with him. And, of course, the other thing that he wanted to throw out there was saying that, oh, billionaires are getting richer and this is something I want to stop. Well, he co-signed the bill that gave $3 million of taxpayer money to the World Economic Forum, one in which that he's a member of, which is, yeah, again, more interesting facts. But we have here, this is Sellout Sing has the cops laughing at his cowardice. This is from Justin Sing. The police and the NDP cowards called... the police that the NDP cowards called on us were laughing at the fact that Jagmeet Sing was hiding during the public meet and greet, and laughed at the fact that they had to call the police on us for simply peacefully trying to hold a public servant accountable.
He's a public servant. And if it's a meet and greet, you're opening up the event for access for the public to access to you. That's the idea.
Is he inside or
is
he?
Yeah, he's in the back.
He's like starstruck.
So yeah, having a laugh at the fact that the they weren't allowed into the event because, and the NDP actually called the police on presumably Justin Sing here, and these gentlemen here that were clearly part of the Sikh community. So again, the whole idea of if you are against me, you're a racist. There are people, and especially in the Freedom Convoy, it's being laid out that they were all just, old stock white Canadians. No, it was members of all races, creeds, colors, and whatever you want to call it, were part of that. Here we have Seek for Truth. I love the name. You guys, amazing. I love the name. But here they are speaking out.
Would you have ever thought that in a nation like Canada, you know, this kind of tyranny would be taking place?
At Parliament's doorstep.
Parliament's doorstep. And I apologize to the rest of the individuals of my faith because we have a member in Parliament, Jagmeet Sing, the leader of the NDP, a complete scumbag. Him, his brother, his entire party. They like to talk about, you know, we're all about the people, the labor force, equity in rights, equity in terms of, you know, freedoms all across the board, making sure that everyone's safe. They're all about the social needs and access to them. Well, guess what? They're involved. They're the ones helping Trudeau close down bank accounts, and they're compliant. So even if you're silent on these issues, that's compliance as well. So we would like everyone to know that Jagmeet Sing doesn't represent the Sikhs, and he never did. He tugged on our heartstrings to make it seem like just because he looks like us, he could get us to vote for him. I've never voted for him in any election. I've never voted for Trudeau either, and I will continue not to vote for these oppressors, and we will make sure that we will still remain here to fight for our freedoms, and we're here till the end.
There you go. There you have it. We got some, you know, brave people coming out and voicing their opinion on how they feel about Jagmeet Sing and what he's been doing. And yeah, of course, he's trying to go for the spin of everybody doesn't like me because of the way I look. And well, it turns out that that's not the case. We just don't like Jagmeet Sing because of the views that he has and the actions that he's been taking. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Voice your opinion. If you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe and hit the like button. We'll see you in the next video. Keep on trucking.